Dear friends, welcome to EME English Made Easier, a channel just for you. Today, I've taken up the ball poem from the first flight book of class 10th. I have tried to explain the poem in detail along with the literary devices that are used in the poem by the poet. As usual, before I start, just take a pencil in your hand, open up the poem and keep making notes as and when required. The ball poem has been written by John Berryman. He is an American poet and a scholar. In this poem, the ball symbolizes our family of friends whom we love a lot. And the loss of ball symbolizes their death or their moving away from us. So the first 4 lines of the poem go like this. What is the boy now who has lost his ball? What is he to do? I saw it go merrily bouncing down the street and then merrily over, there it's in the water. In these lines, the poet is asking the readers a question. The poet has seen a boy who is playing with the ball and the ball is rolling away from him. The ball goes bouncing down the street and then into the water. The question that the poet asks is that what the boy should do as his ball has slipped from his hand and has gone into the water. This is the meaning of these 4 lines. Now, let's see the literary devices that the poet has used here. First is anaphora. Anaphora means a word or a phrase that is being repeated in 2 or 3 lines at the beginning. So here you see the word what and merrily are repeated at the beginning of the lines. So this is the usage of anaphora. The second device that is used here is imagery. Means the poet is able to create a similar snapshot in a reader's mind. It doesn't mean only visual imagery. It can appeal to any of our senses. So look at the line that says, merrily bouncing down the street. Here the poet has used imagery. Next literary device that comes here is repetition. In the line, what is he to do? So here the word what is being repeated. So this is repetition that is used here. Last device used here is assonance. You remember assonance means repetition of vowel sound. So look at this line. What is the boy now who has lost his ball? So here the sound of O is being repeated. Hence, this is the example of assonance. Now let's move on to the next stanza that says, no use to say, oh there are other balls. An ultimate shaking grief fixes the boy as he stands rigid, trembling, staring down. All his young days into the harbor where his ball went. I would not intrude on him. A dime, another ball is worthless now. So in these lines, the poet wants to console the boy by telling him that there are other balls around, just like the one he has lost. The shock and the grief that the boy has received at the loss of the ball makes him stiff. The boy starts to shiver all over. He watches the ball go into the deep harbor along with his childhood days. That is the memories of his childhood. The poet feels it would be wrong to intrude on his solitude. Means the poet doesn't want to interfere with his solitude. It would be useless to give him a dime. Means some money. It would be useless to give the boy some money and suggest him to buy another ball, because the new ball will not bring the sense of belonging to the boy. Now let's look at the literary devices used here. we have repetition of the word ball here. Second, the poet has used metaphor when he says all his young days into the harbor. Here, the young days are compared to the lost ball. Metaphor means comparing two things or ideas without the use of words like or as. You can watch the video on what is metaphor by clicking on the link given below. You'll have several examples of metaphor that will make you understand what metaphor actually is. So you can find the link in the description below. Let's now move on to the next stanza that says, he senses first responsibility in a world of possessions. People will take balls. Balls will be lost always, little boy, and no one buys a ball back. Money is external. In these lines, the poet tells us that the little boy is facing a transformation. He has just realized that the ball was his responsibility and he needs to learn the responsibility of taking care of his things. However, nothing you own will be yours forever. Others will take away all that is yours. No one will buy another ball for you. It will get lost or go away from you on its own. Another thing that the poet says is, money is external, means it's just a show off. It cannot buy you inner peace. In these lines, ball is a symbol of one's possession, and the poet reaffirms that once lost cannot be replaced easily. Now, let's see the literary devices that are used in these lines. First is the alliteration. Look at the line, and no one buys a ball back. Which sound is being repeated? It's the B sound. So buys a ball back is the example of alliteration. The second device is repetition. The word ball is being repeated here. You see, balls, balls. So this is repetition. Now let's look at the last four lines that go like this. He is learning well behind his desperate eyes the epistemology of loss, how to stand up, knowing what every man must one day know and must know many days, how to stand up. In these lines, epistemology actually means knowledge. So epistemology of loss means understanding the nature of loss. So here the poet says that the boy's eyes are filled with sadness, but this grief has taught him a lesson. He is learning about the loss of things. Something that was once considered precious for him has gone away from him. So he is learning to accept the loss and then to move on. He is learning to stand up against the sense of loss. He is trying to learn the real truth of life, the truth that everyone has to learn in his or her life, the truth of standing up against the odd miseries of life that everyone has to bear. So now let's take a look on the literary devices used here. Look at the line. He is learning well behind his desperate eyes. What sound is being repeated here? Vowel sound E. Hence, this is known as assonance, repetition of vowel sounds. Next comes rhyme scheme. There is no rhyme scheme followed in this poem. This was all for today. We'll soon catch up with another video. Your feedback is very important. Please drop them in the comment section below.